Let us start our prediction portion of this show by bringing up some matchups that we are looking forward to. I guess for each division, you guys want to do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark, let's throw it over to you first. Give us. You guys want to go up or down the weights? What do you want to do?
I think that's up to you, man. You're the host. You get to be a little hosty on this episode.
Let's be a little hosty. Okay. Let's start. Let's start with the ladies. Let's start down in the women's strawweight division, 115 pounds. Mark, what do you got for us?
I think the one I'm most looking forward to in this division this year that I can imagine is the one we're about to get. I really am intrigued by this Zhang Weili and Amanda Lemos matchup. I have not necessarily wanted to anoint Lemos as like the next big thing, and I still am not. But I like the style matchup of her physicality and power combating Weili. So I'm into that one. And then the one other one I'll give, which is one that I feel like people are very oddly down on Rose, like as if we're just forgetting all the Rose-ness that has happened all these years. Like she had one bad fight, and then she got subbed by Jillian Robertson in a grappling event, and everyone's like, oh, don't need to see Rose anymore. So I don't really understand that. I'm very much here for Rose Weili 3 if we get to that point as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel we will probably get it this year. If Rose can notch a win, they'll probably give her Weili again. And of course, I'm going to be here for that. I can watch those two fight 10 times over. Omar, what do you got?
So, originally I wanted to have Jessica Andrade as my choice for strawweight champ. But it doesn't seem like she's set for strawweight anymore at this point. It seems like she's trying to go to flyweight. So I had to make some adjustments. And I think with Jessica Andrade out of the flyweight division, I think that that Lemos becomes a real shoe-in for championship status. So I'm going to go with Amanda Lemos.
With Lemos.
Wait, we're not picking our champion.
No, we're not picking champs, dude.
Oh, dude, what are we doing?
We're doing fights that we're looking forward to.
I fucked up.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's
all good.
Okay. And these are the realistic fights, right? Like fights that are actually going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I don't have them by weight class. I just had a bunch of different fights.
All right. Well, do you have any that are women's strawweight?
If not, we can just jump up to 125.
Yeah, let's... Well... Okay. I had my Valentina Zhang Weili fight. That was half and half.
That would have to be at 125.
Right.
Yes.
But it is a super fight from the 115 pounder.
Right.
Would be. Yes. But we are going to do crossweight dream fights next.
Correct.
Oh.
Okay. So right now we're sticking within each division.
Did you read the agenda?
Because it doesn't seem like a dream fight to me because it would legitimately happen. A dream fight to me is one that's not probably going to happen.
We tried to leave the crossweights, but I feel you.
All of my John Jones picks are in dream fights because I don't think he's coming back.
Actually, you know what? I did the same thing. One of my fights coming up is a crossweight fight as well, and I didn't put it in the dream fights because I think it's actually going to happen. So that's okay. That's fair.
All right, let's jump up to women's flyweight, 125 pounds. Omar, any 25ers? Basically, who do you want to see them throw at Valentina next?
He just gave it to you.
Oh, that's true.
I think Valentina could just stay there for a while and just not even be touched. So, yeah,
I will jump in. And I will say realistically at 125 pounds, the 10-1 Manon Fior. Curious, she's an excellent kickboxer. Curious to see her get her shot at the title at Valentina at some point this year, probably, right? Mark, what do you think?
I do wonder what Omar said, if we would ever see Weili move up. I still think the next title shot, as you said, will be Manon Fior. I'm not really sure why that hasn't been announced at this point. I don't know what other direction they'd be going. But I'll give you two others. One is I have heard the woman we just spoke about, Rose Namajunas, toy with the idea of a flyweight move recently. I've heard her mention it a couple times. I know she's kind of buddy-buddy with Valentina, so I'm not sure if that is what's in Rose's head or if she just means like for some other fun fights with people she hasn't fought yet. But if they ever fought, That'd be a fun one. And the more realistic one I'll give you with a girl who is in this division already, although newly, hasn't fought there as of yet, is the returning Tatiana Suarez. She has been out for God knows how long.
Like
Still
4
undefeated.
years or something.
4 years, is that what it is?
3,
Still
4
undefeated.
years?
Returning against Montana De La Rosa. I thought they'd give her someone better than that out of the gate. I guess, after being out that long, they were like, let's not go right to an absolute killer. But I could see her working her way up quick and us getting her and Valentina before this year is out.
Interesting. I'm looking at rankingmma.com. They have Tatiana as a strawweight, as an unranked strawweight.
That's what she is. This would be her
she's
first
coming back
flyweight
at
fight. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I didn't realize what you were saying. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's jump up to women's bantamweight.
So this is where I cheated like Omar. My bantamweight fight that I'm looking forward to is if we run back Amanda and Valentina for a third time. It's the only bantamweight fight I'd really be looking forward to be quite honest. It's a bit of a stale division.
Does Valentina want to do that?
She has seemed open to it whenever it's gotten brought up in the last year or so. She has seemed open to it. And even Amanda has seemed more open to it, who didn't always. So I don't know. I think it depends. You can easily justify it for Amanda, I feel, because there's not a ton of contenders like nipping at her heels. Mm-hmm. For Valentina, Manon Fior's there, like you said. Alexa Grasso's kind of close. If Tatiana Suarez gets hot, it's going to be a little harder for her since her division is kind of active, but wouldn't shock me if we get there.
Omar, what do you think about women's bantamweight?
Personally, I wanted to see the Nunes Pena 3 rematch. I still think that it's unfinished. I know we had two significantly different results and performances between the two, but I think that more than any reason is why I think another fight needs to happen, just so we can solidify one way or the other who the best is. So that would be mine.
If we don't get a rubber match between Pena and Nunes, one fight that I would be very interested to see at 135 pounds that has never gone down would be Pena versus Holly Holm, if that might happen.
You were going to say that
at some point this year. Why do you think I was going to say that?
I don't know. I just had a feeling. You're right. It is a cool. We haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us now hop over to the men's side. I'm skipping women's featherweight because what's the point?
Well, I was going to say the only one you're really looking forward to there is if we're going to get a fourth Larissa Pacheco and Kayla Harrison over in the PFL.
Sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. Otherwise,
yes, let's hop to the men.
Like, I don't know, Norma Dumont is like good. And she is.
Yeah.
Norma Dumont should get the title just for being more active in the division at this point.
No one has ever said the words that they were looking forward to Norma Dumont. Sorry.
It's all good.
Let's be real.
Let's jump over to the men's side of things. Here we go. 125 pounds. I'll lead off the obvious one because it's just low-hanging fruit. Obviously, Moreno versus Figueiredo 4. It could be Figgy versus Moreno 44, and I'd still watch the shit out of that. What about you guys?
Yeah, I didn't really have anything for flyweight just because that one was just so obvious to me. But yes, I would agree. Davidson Figueiredo 4. Probably going to need Davidson Figueiredo 5 by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, man. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, hopefully this one settles it for a bit, considering it is 1-1-1 at the moment. Hopefully we can kind of move on at least to some other contenders for a bit here if someone cleanly wins this fight. But yeah, obviously looking forward to that one. I'm kind of hoping, both because I will be rooting for him anyway, and because of the potential matchup that would be next, but I'm hoping Moreno wins and that we can get him versus Pantoja 3. That's probably the fight I most am dying to see at this point. And then the other one that you got to remember as well is the trilogy between DJ and Adriano Moraes over in one. I'll be pumped for that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, the top of men's flyweight is so good right now.
Yeah, flyweight's getting a lot better, man.
So
There's a
much
lot of
talent,
up-and-comers at flyweight. A lot.
Yes. Figueiredo Moreno, Cara France, Pantoja, Royval, Mateus Nicolau, Manel Kopp. So good.
Yep. Then you got killers coming. Like Amir Albazi is really good.
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey Molina even looks solid so far. Mohammed Makayev is a beast.
Yes.
Tatsuro Taira has looked good. Obviously, he's young and raw. I mean, there's guys at flyweight.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Men's bantamweight.
Now we're getting into these divisions where we could just name about 75 fights that we're looking forward to.
Fucking bantamweight. Talk about this, that.
Which is why I went with some more maybe ones that you wouldn't think of or whatever. But O'Malley Cheeto 2, I think, is something
That's
that
the
needs
one,
to happen. And
That's the
yeah,
one.
it needs to happen in 2023. The other one I had too was Adrian Yanez versus Peter Yan, because I think
Oh Lord, God.
Oh my god.
but how is he not there? If he beats Rob Font,
Well, he's
how is he
man.
really?
Plus,
How is he not there by the end of
let's
2023?
Let's let him get past Rob Font first.
It's absurd that Adrian. I mean, I already talked about how I can't believe they jumped him right to Rob Font. But all he has to do is win one more fight, and like you're right, they could absolutely be like, all right, he's gonna fight Peter Yan. That sounds absurd right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
but totally possible.
Fucking crazy.
You know what I love is more than I love Adrian Yanez is I love Omar's love for Adrian Yanez.
Yeah.
Since the beginning.
Yes. So much belief.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Which like I have loved him from jump too, and I've almost just like backed off. Like I'm like, yeah, I love him, but like, yeah, it's Omar to have him. Like it's too overwhelming. Omar's love.
Yes. Mark, what do you think at bantamweight?
My number one is the one Omar said. O'Malley and Cheeto 2. I cannot wait for it. I gotta assume it comes at some point this year. I mean, I guess it depends. You know, if Cheeto loses this next fight to Sandhagen, that could kind of pump the brakes on that potentially. But I hope that one is not too far off. I still like the idea of Petr Yan and Merab. I think that's just a really cool style matchup. Has the storylines from the fights with Aljo and the camps and everything. So I like that one. Obviously, there's a ton of others you could mention. Cejudo's coming back and all that. Obviously, Aljo and Cejudo, if we get that, will be quite the wrestling clash. And the other one I'll throw out is whoever wins this Bellator Grand Prix. I'll be interested to see Sergio Pettis return and take on whoever that champ is.
Can't wait for that. Absolutely. Yeah, we're unanimous on this one. I think if it can happen, the rematch between O'Malley and Cheeto, there's just so much tension there, man. Just so much drama.
Yeah.
I mean, as an MMA fan, I'm so looking forward to Cheeto versus Sandhagen coming up in February.
Yeah.
But it's as deadly as Corey Sandhagen is as a striker, he's just too not even nice. He's just kind of there.
He's a little vanilla compared to Cheeto.
I mean, a little. Like he's just too nice of a guy. I'm like, Corey, talk a little shit, man. Come on, bro. Okay, men's featherweight. What do you got?
There's only one fight for me that really needs to happen at men's featherweight. Well, I have two, but there's only one for me that really needs to happen, and that is Ilia Topuria versus Brian Ortega.
Oof.
That simply just needs to happen. The other one I had that I thought would be fun would be Ryan Hall versus Bryce Mitchell. That just seems like a roller's delight, if you will.
Yeah, so I used both guys that you used in different fights. I have Ilya and Arnold Allen is one that I'd be very into. And then the Ortega-Yair fight that we got robbed of. I would really still love to see that fight go down.
Yeah.
There are so many guys at featherweight right now who have stupid records. So many, like disproportionately compared to other divisions. Volk has one loss. Arnold Allen has one loss. Josh Emmett only has 2 losses. Yair has 3 losses. Ortega only has 3 losses. Ivloev, 0 losses. Topuria, undefeated as well. Like, it's just... Bryce Mitchell has 1 loss. It's stupid. Sorry.
It's wild that Josh Emmett has 2 losses. In my head, you said that, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which makes...
also... sorry, I thought you were moving on.
No, go ahead.
I realized one more I wanted to say.
Oh, yeah.
The Pitbull McKee trilogy. I know McKee moved up, but he still keeps saying he'll go back for that trilogy, and I hope we get that.
Yeah.
I have 2 answers for men's featherweight. One, I can't wait for Emmett versus Yair. Can't wait.
Wow.
Oh, my God. The other answer is whoever Topuria is fighting next. That's it. Whoever he fights in this whole year. I mean, he might be like, in my opinion, the number one like must-watch fighter on my like. If fucking Ilia Topuria is fighting, I'm like, you have to watch that guy fight.
Yeah, I mean, he is that kind of guy. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, lightweight doesn't get any easier, guys.
So
Oh,
I only
yeah.
had two. I'll start with my Bellator one because I thought it was, after the way that everything kind of went down at the end of the year on Bellator and the Risen side and all that stuff, I thought it would be interesting to see Usman Nurmagomedov versus AJ McKee at lightweight. That just has a bunch of questions that I think need to be answered. I love the way AJ McKee fights, but will the cardio stand up to Usman's and the wrestling pedigree? You know, there's a lot of questions I think there are to be answered in that fight. I think it'd be fun. The other fight I had is probably the one that everybody expects, which is McGregor versus Chandler. Back at lightweight. Personally, I know they've been talking about lightweight and welterweight and all that. You're fucking both lightweights. Do it at lightweight. Stop being ridiculous.
Can McGregor physically be a lightweight? Is the question.
At this point,
I don't know. He looks ridiculous, but listen. I can't believe he ballooned. I wonder if it was just for the movie, because if you watch the pictures that he looks enormous.
Oh, I know.
For this Roadhouse movie.
I know.
I'm excited.
And they want,
Absurd.
dude, and they want to sell me. See, and I watch Roadhouse on a regular basis, and like I can buy Patrick Swayze beating the shit out of the other guy wearing a mullet. But now you want to sell me Jake Gyllenhaal is going to beat the shit out of McGregor? Y'all are lost.
Bro, did you ever see Southpaw?
I saw Southpaw.
Yeah, Southpaw was great.
I saw Southpaw. I
Jake
said what I
Gyllenhaal,
said.
He had a 15-pack in that fucking movie.
I agree. No problem. Boxing is not what happens in Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze roundhouse the motherfucker in that one, okay? He ripped some dude's throat out. Trachea fucking gone, okay?
Okay,
You're not going to sell to me that McGregor in a street fight with death rules is going to lose to Jake Gyllenhaal. It's not going to happen.
Is this just a remake of Roadhouse?
I was just going to bring that up.
I'm going to assume that it is. I've heard nothing saying that this is not a reboot of it.
But wait a second. I've always heard of this Roadhouse.
Mike, have you fucking not seen Roadhouse?
Never. School me on this for a second. Is it one movie? Is it a series? What the fuck is it?
There are probably some stupid sequels that maybe have run amok somewhere down the line, but the one that matters is the first Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
He's basically a guy who we've gone way off the rails here. Patrick Swayze is basically playing a guy who goes to bars and is what's called a cooler. So he's basically the top security guard there. He directs all the other security guards to doing what they need to do. He goes to the worst bars. They call him because he's the best cooler. You know, he does all this shit. But he goes to a town now that's run by this like corrupt motherfucker who has his own Dalton is what this kid's name is.
Is that
they
Connor?
make it? Yeah, Connor. I'm assuming based on what I know about the original Roadhouse is going to play the main villain's kick your ass guy, the guy that he sends out there to beat everybody up.
Oh my god.
Well, to be fair, in the original Roadhouse, this guy did not have very many lines. He was literally going. He was going and literally fucking people up on this corrupt old man's commands.
Oh my god!
So we're probably going to see Connor like kick a lot of fucking people and probably laugh a lot, probably say a couple quips, but he's not going to have like a part in the movie. You know?
I can't wait. Okay, let's get back on track.
Let's see. Okay. Who has not gone for
that should be a clip right there, just promoting Roadhouse.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, I'll hop in real quick.
Okay.
First of all, at lightweight, obviously looking forward to the next time Islam fights. I can't wait for his fucking fight against Volk, obviously. I cannot wait to see Charles Oliveira get back in the cage and see how he responds after this loss to Makhachev. Mark, what do you got?
I agree. Both of those things. I as much as I don't know that I felt it was the right time to pull the trigger on Islam and Volk, I'm obviously super pumped for it. Just, it's like Islam is the favorite, but to imagine Volk losing a fight right now is very difficult. So it's like it's an awesome fight to look forward to here. Same thing for Charles. You know, if he makes his way back to Islam, even whoever he fights on the way. I hope it's not Poirier. We already saw it. But if it's like Dariush, be super pumped for that one. And I really like this now fully rumored, so I hope it's happening, Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev fight. I would be real pumped for that fight.
Yeah, man.
You know what I think is interesting about that Volk-Islam fight is I think the only reason why Islam is favored is because of the expectation that's now set for Islam that his career going forward will be him not losing a fight because of the pedigree of the Khabib and that team and kind of how they do
the size
things.
Has a lot to do with it, too.
But Volk has also never lost in the UFC as well. Well, Islam technically has. Volk has looked dominant in his performances, arguably, you know, more so than maybe some of Islam's earlier fights.
Sure.
He's been a champion for longer. Like, on paper, there's a lot of things that I think Volk does better than Islam and has more credentials than Islam, but Islam is favored. And again, I think that as much as people know how good Volk is and whatever, I still think people don't really think that he's not beatable. You know what I mean? That Islam somehow is the continuous, you know, recoming of Khabib, where he's not going to lose a fight and might not lose a round and all this stuff. But you know, Volk somehow is still more beatable than Islam. I think it's weird.
I think it's just because we watch Islam manhandle people who are clearly larger humans than Volk is. I really think that's what that betting line is wholly centered around.
Interesting.
I'll say one other thing. It's not so much a matchup. I'm curious to see how this year plays out for Paddy Pimblett in terms of the matchups he gets. And if the promotion really is going to try to, you know, bob and weave their way through the 55 roster with him, it'll be curious to see who he gets matched up with. Because Ranking MMA has him at number 22. And lightweight is a fucking murderer's row, as we know. So we'll see.
But if he wasn't Paddy Pimblett though, right? If he didn't have this name and he just was this guy on this journey,
yeah,
based on his last performance, you wouldn't bump him that much up anyway.
No.
So I mean, I
would be like, I don't know, like Vince Pichel or Mark Madsen or somebody.
Like, I don't think they're necessarily like protecting him or anything, but I think they're giving him the proper due course for somebody who's moving up in their career. Had he beat the shit out of Jared Gordon and they're still throwing relatively irrelevant people at him, maybe we could have that discussion. But based on his last performance, he's right where he should be as far as I'm concerned.
Sure. Yeah. I actually think Mark Madsen, stylistically, might be a tough matchup for him.
That sounds like a terrible matchup for him.
Well, Mark, did you miss anybody?
Nope.
Matchup-wise? Okay, let's go to welterweight. Anybody want to start?
The one that I have is just Hamzat versus Colby. I've been thinking about that fight all 2022 and we never got it, so I'm going to continue to dream that for 2023.
Sure. Mark?
I agree. Hamzat Colby, for sure. The trilogy is an easy answer. Usman and Leon. Pumped for that. And if we can get the resolution of the Leon Jorge beef as well, I would be into that one.
Yeah, I guess so. That would be kind of cool. That would be cool.
Oh, it's got to be settled, man. It's got to be settled.
I will also say, if we are going to do stupid matchups, I will do Conor Masvidal at welterweight. If he wants to do a dumbass fight at welterweight, that one would be fun.
Sure.
Yes, the obvious one is the championship rematch between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. But my other pick is going to be the upcoming Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov in March.
Digging a little deeper.
Yeah, digging a little deep.
That's what she said.
Also, just scrolling a little bit. Randy Brown versus Jack
I
Della
can't wait for
Maddalena. Great
Can't
fight.
wait for that fight.
Great fucking fight.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for one of them to lose right now. I feel like they both were on their way up to like an established name, and now one of them's going to have to take a loss, but it's a great one either way.
Yeah. And obviously whoever Hamzat fights, I mean, any time he fucking fights, you got to watch. I'm like, can he get out of welterweight and stop terrorizing the 170s?
Well, that's where I'm about to go. One of my answers as we shift, I guess I'll do the shift. We shift to middleweight here is Hamzat against anyone.
Yes.
I feel like somehow, the missed weight, he fucked up the event kind of. He played the heel a little bit. He kind of slightly dulled the buzz that he had. And I think him saying like, all right, I'm moving up, I'm coming for the middleweights, almost reignites that buzz to be like, oh shit, like Hamzat's going to fight Jared Cannonier or Paulo Costa, or if it was ever Whitaker or whoever. Like, I think it kind of gets reignited. So I think any middleweight matchup for him, I would be pumped for. I mean, like, I just picked him and Colby, so there's welterweight ones that I'll be pumped for too. But him at middleweight is fun. And then the other I'll say, I mean, of course, the Pereira-Izzy rematch, if we're going to get that right out of the gate, I'll be pumped for that. But I really am intrigued to see Pereira match up with Robert Whitaker, just because I think there's a lot of ways Whitaker can expose Pereira's game, and I'm hoping we get that one this year.
I'm not. I'm so worried for Whitaker, just for the pure size difference. But you're right. I mean, Whitaker is more well-rounded than Adesanya, so you would have to think that he's going to look to work in more grappling and take down threats and stuff like that to kind of try to make it interesting.
The thing that worries me about Whitaker in a fight with a guy that's significantly bigger than him is Whitaker breaking every single appendage that he has trying to beat the shit out of this man.
Yeah.
Because the way he throws so hard and explosive that when these bigger guys, sometimes they clash wrong, and he's got fractures in his hands, he's got fractures in his foot. It sometimes I feel like it leaves him worse off having fought these guys that are just so much bigger than him. Even when he wins or when he loses, it doesn't matter. He still ends up so fucked up by the end.
Yeah. I'll tell you one other one. I would be so interested to see Paulo Costa fight Alex Pereira. I think that would be such a fucking cool fight.
I would be too. I was real pumped for him and Whitaker. I'm upset we didn't get that one.
Yeah. Yep.
That was the UFC pulling on our balls again without actually having anything done. It's absolutely ridiculous the way they fucking do business like that over there. I don't understand it.
All right, let's move on.
Another one. I keep forgetting Bellator.
Yes, please.
If I know Yoel's kind of back now fighting at light heavy.
Yeah.
But if he goes and fights Johnny Eblen at middleweight at some point, I'll be pumped to see that.
That'd be dope.
I did also have Hamzat and Whitaker. I don't know if you guys ended up getting into that one, but Hamzat and Paulo Costa as well. I want to see a lot of Hamzat at middleweight. I just think there's a lot of good fights for him at middleweight. Personally, I think they're better fights at middleweight for him than at welterweight. But yeah, those two I think would be exceptional.
Okay, men's light heavyweight. Omar, what do you got? Talk to me.
I mean, other than the obvious ones that are kind of already scheduled, like right now, I'm kind of excited to see Jamal Hill get a shot at the belt. His obsession with this chooch who got arrested for human trafficking is disturbing. But apart from that, what is this guy's name?
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, that guy.
Jamal Hill is obsessed with Andrew Tate.
What?
Dude, he's on his Instagram.
What?
He's reposting videos of him and commenting how Andrew Tate is right and all. Like it's upsetting
about Andrew Tate's like man shit.
About his yes, about his man shit. It's really annoying.
It's
the one thing I haven't really enjoyed about him in recent. You guys know me. I love
Jamal.
It's all over his Instagram and it drives me crazy.
What? Wow. Dude, I have never been more truly lost and confused than about Andrew Tate. I mean, a guy who literally came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Is he famous? Like, am I supposed to know who he is?"
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'd be like, "What is he famous for?"
Half
like, he was
the celebrity world in 2022.
Yeah, it's like he's a famous kickboxer who's like rich for some reason.
And there's because he does. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
Oh yeah,
I'm not doing
and
that.
I looked up about like how he apparently made his money and the kind of stupid videos that he would make.
Well,
stupid stuff, man. Stupid stuff. And now he's fucking...
Currently, he's under investigation for human trafficking
Oh my God,
of women in Romania. So we can absolutely say fuck that guy.
Yeah.
You don't know if we're gonna go. I mean,
Oh, you should listen to his
everything
interviews.
I've read. It seems like bullshit.
Oh, really?
I really don't
I
want
would
to
let-
go down this road right now because I'm not.
I'm not
we
going to
don't
go
have
down
to.
there. Yeah.
But like a zillion women came out and they were like, "I'm named in the thing," and this is not true.
Oh, really?
Well,
why is
regardless,
he... Yeah,
it,
interesting.
yeah, we're not going to get into it. Regardless,
Again, I don't want to be looked at as defending this guy because it's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to relay facts that I have heard.
Jamal Hill versus Glover is one that I'm looking forward to. Like I said, I'm really excited to see Jamal Hill finally get a crack at the title and see if he can finally do it. Other than that, light heavyweight for me has been kind of meh in general.
Yeah.
I want to say I want to see the Magomed and the Jan fight again, but like, do I really?
That was a good fight.
It was a decent fight up until the last couple rounds. You know, the fact that Jan was unable to do anything in the last 2 rounds was a little annoying. I feel like he's better than that, and I'd rather not see him essentially give up the last 2 rounds again after beating the shit out of this man for 2-3 rounds. The end of it was frustrating, but regardless, there's just not a ton of fights at light heavyweight that I'm dying to see. I think they're going to need to put on performances this year to get people's blood boiling and wanting to watch.
I will add a guy that I'm always excited to watch, Khalil Roundtree, Muay Thai technician at 205. I don't think he's matched up with anybody right now, but he's always on my radar. I'm a fan.
Losing Erie definitely hurt the buzz of this division at the top for sure. It feels a little bit stale right now. I mean, if Jamal Hill was to knock out Glover, everything would kind of change, I think. But yeah, other than Jan Magomed too, like Omar mentioned, this Hill Glover matchup coming up, I think it is a little stale. I'll use Yoel again. Him against Nemkov in Bellator, I'd be pumped for as well. Any fight with Yoel, I'm in. So yeah, but beyond that, I don't think there's a ton at light heavyweight.
Okay, finally, let's do heavyweight because we still have a few other categories of predictions to do.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, let's stick with you here.
Tom Aspinall returning, hopefully
Let's
healthy,
go.
fighting
Come on,
anyone.
Tom.
That's my guy. Need him to get back to the winning ways. Ryan Bader and Fedor, where I'm hoping Fedor can ride off into the sunset as the Bellator heavyweight champion. I truly cannot wait for that. And then, the typical John Jones. Is he going to fight? Of course, if he fights anyone, it will be awesome. And I'll roll out the same thing for Sergey Pavlovich. To see him in there now across from someone named Blades, Ngannou, Stipe, whoever it may be, it's going to be really intriguing.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Pavlovich thing, man. He is the battering ram of heavyweight right now.
Yeah.
He's kind of taken that title from Ngannou, if you ask me. As like the scariest hitter right now.
I think he's way more technical than Ngannou. I think that's really the scariest part. Sure. Ngannou is almost like the Deontay Wilder of MMA right now.
He just has so much power. Like, he's just hammers.
But his accuracy is absolutely crazy. Like, you don't see Ngannou throwing straight crosses down the pipe almost ever.
100%.
Right? Like, Ngannou is trying to railroad you from beginning to end.
Yep.
Pavlovich is coming to just rip your head right straight behind you. His technique, I think, is what stands him apart from everybody else in that heavyweight. You know, he's got hands. Everybody's got hands. But he's got the technique.
No, it's the accuracy, like you said. Everything lands flush that he throws.
Anytime Jones wants to accept a contract or whatever, he can fight anybody at heavyweight. He can fight.
It'd be a huge deal.
He can fight Parker Porter. I'd be like, come on. Like,
I don't know about that.
You know what I mean? Let's like warm him up with like Chase Sherman or somebody.
Jesus Christ.
Sheesh.
My biggest one is the Gane versus Stipe fight. I'm hoping they figure something out. I left this one in realistic and none of my John Jones ones in realistic. I'm just going to put that out there. And that's knowing how difficult Stipe has recently been when it comes to making a fight. So I still think if he does come back in 2023, I think Stipe versus Gane at this point, if not Jones, is going to be a perfect fight.
Okay. Okay. Let us now transition to talking about cross-weight dream fights. Mark, would you like to go first?
Sure. Are we just going to rattle off a list here, I guess? Is that how this will be done?
Yeah, sure.
Rattle, because
I'm sure
I
Mark
just
has
have a.
30.
All right.
I was gonna say, I just have a random list here.
I won't say them all. I wrote too many down.
I don't know.
I kind of feel like it's almost my number one, just because I truly feel like it can and may happen, is the one that I brought up earlier, which is Valentina getting a third crack at Amanda. I really would love to see that fight. I don't know if it's also because I feel like they're not being I mean, Amanda did just lose, so this seems stupid to say, but like that they both really need a challenger. It just feels too perfect. I think that's got to happen. Second, I would love a world where Connor could make 155 again, and Max came up, and we did that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be great.
I really I would love to everything. The whole lead up to the fight, the press conferences, in cage, all of it. Would love that fight. A third one, I've brought this one up a handful of times before. I don't know how realistic it is. Well, I guess it could happen at 55 now. I always talk about it at 45. But it's Volk and Michael Chandler. With Chandler losing a bit lately, I've always looked at Chandler and said, he is kind of small compared to a lot of these lightweights, but I don't know if he could actually make 45. But I've always thought in my head, if he ever could, he'd be an interesting challenge for Volk. I don't like it as much at 55 for some reason. I don't know why that makes sense in my head, but I'd be interested to see Chandler try to make a featherweight run. So that fight has always kind of appealed to me. Dustin and Colby, the beef that they have, if Dustin ever agreed, I know he has said before he doesn't want to contribute to Colby making money or anything like that. But sometimes he talks and you're like, I think he would do it if they really came to him with it. So Dustin and Colby getting in there, I would be real pumped for. And then my others that I have here, if I try to summarize, they're more so like a guy taking a shot at a division. Like if Islam kept winning and said, you know what, let me try to fight a Colby Covington or someone like this up at welterweight, or even Usman. Well, I guess he wouldn't fight Usman because they're kind of same agents and stuff, which is probably why I wrote Colby here now that I'm thinking about it. Or if the beef between the teams ever came back, I know they pieced it up, but Islam and Shemaev, that would be wild if we ever got to see that one. And then another guy taking on a new division, I kind of touched it before, is Max. If Max came up and truly said, I'm a lightweight now. If we got Max and Gaethje, Max and Chandler, Max and Oliveira, all these fights I would friggin' love to see. I have a few more random ones here, but I guess I'll try not to go on forever, so we'll cut it there.
Omar, hit us.
So mine are a lot more random, a lot less realistic, and some of them are cross-promotion. So enjoy. My first first three are basically all John Jones picks. So John Jones versus Stipe is my first dream pick here. John Jones versus Ngannou is my second. And John Jones versus Fedor would be my third.
Jesus Christ.
Fedor, wow.
I mean, but how amazing would that fight actually be?
I mean, fuck, it feels a little bit like a mismatch size-wise.
You can't but you can't call Fedor the GOAT though if you can't beat everybody.
He's 50.
Fuck that. He's fighting Bader. We don't have a problem fighting Bader.
No, we don't, because he might have a chance. Bader ain't John Jones.
Fuck that. Put him in there with John Jones. If he dies, he dies.
Literally 46.
He'll be fine.
He's probably 47 tomorrow. I don't know when his birthday is. It's got to be soon.
The next one was also Ngannou versus Fedor.
Jesus Christ.
Sure. Why not?
I want to see what he's got. Fedor. It's the last emperor. He's got to make it to at least 50. What's next here? I have Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska.
Oh, God. Great one.
Yuri's striking, I think, is so unorthodox, and Alex Pereira is just so technical that I wonder who fucks up first.
And Alex Pereira is a light heavyweight who is somehow fighting at middleweight. So,
and I also think that he ends up with a lot more energy at light heavyweight than he would at middleweight. He won't have to cut nearly as much weight. Next on the list, and this personally might be my diehard favorite if we're being honest. Michael Venom Page versus Steven Wonderboy Thompson.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, great idea.
I mean, if you don't think these motherfuckers are going to have 360 and 720 spins all through that fight,
10
you
rounds.
you haven't been watching. Absolutely.
Oh, man, I
karate
love that
karate rules.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Wish we could get MVP in the UFC. That'd be cool.
I know, man.
That was
with
one of
all
my
the money
predictions last year that he would sign with the UFC
That's
this
right.
year. But
Yeah.
with all the money that dude makes outside of the actual octagon and the promotion of Bellator itself, I don't think
Oh, what does he
that
do?
the UFC, well, just the advertisements, the sponsorships, and all that stuff. Like the UFC won't allow him to do a lot of that stuff during press conferences, during the fights. Like, I think he loses a lot of money if he comes into the UFC at this point. If we're being honest.
Quite possibly.
And he won't get to do all the crazy, weird shit that he likes to do. You think they're going to let him throw a Pokeball in the middle of the UFC octagon? I doubt it.
And there'll be a lot more guys that can beat him because there's
Well, that's very
more
true.
guys that know how to wrestle, and he's yet to show that he can beat a wrestler.
Right. Next on my list, AJ McKee versus Islam Makhachev.
You really went for the dream fights.
Dude, I mean,
I didn't know we were allowed to go cross promotion. I'm jealous now that you
man.
went on these cross promotions.
it's getting crazy. I mean, how could you not want to see it? And if we're being honest, I also threw OAM in there versus Islam because why not? Because why not?
All right, triple threat.
Yeah.
Okay. Last two on my list, Volk versus Pitbull. I've had massive questions about that one for a little while now.
Totally. It's a great fight.
And my pièce de resistance, and I don't think it'll happen because I seem like boys now, is DJ versus Cejudo 3.
Oh,
I would love to see that shit one more time, especially now that DJ's still fucking people up over there.
He is.
As a matter of fact, we can do it in one. Let's throw Cejudo in one FC real quick for a little bit and see if that rule set works for him. But that's mine.
Okay.
Mike, where'd you go? We lost your video.
Oh, he's still
still
up
have
on
some
mine.
video.
Oh, he is? All right, that's weird.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, you're good, I guess.
God damn.
Oh, now you're back.
Okay. I got a few. I would love to see Zhang go up and challenge Valentina at 125. Would be dope. I feel like I said that. I brought that up like a year ago, and I recall being poo-pooed, but I still would love to see that fight.
Oh, I can see it now.
I would be very interested to see Islam Makhachev go up to 170 and challenge whoever is there, because I think he's a massive 55er. And even though 55 to 70 is one of the big jumps across the rosters, across the divisions, I think Islam would not be tiny at 170.
Oh, no.
And my last one is I would love to see Alex Pereira, if he defends middleweight or not or whatever, I would love to see him go up to 205. Omar brought this one up. Totally agree. Him against Yuri, dream matchup. And I will add one to that. Let's say he beats Yuri. I would love to see Pereira just get yoked over like 6 to 9 months and go up to heavyweight and fight somebody. How incredible. He is massive.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4", 6'5". How tall is he?
Yeah, he has
Imagine
the
if he gets
frame.
fucking
He has the
jacked.
frame where he could do it.
I don't think though that he would be able to safely go back and forth between the two.
No,
Like
I think
to-
this is a
to
one-way
really-
train,
It would have to
baby.
be commitment.
One-way train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It would have to be, I am trying to be a three-way champion, and you just march upward with no return.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a fun category now, guys. Predicting breakout stars for this year, for 2023. We are now in January. Who do we think? Let's start with women's strawweight.
Oh, I didn't pick one for every one. I just
Okay.
Yeah,
I just had a list.
Okay.
we could do it, but we could do it by list. Because I have a lot of divisions where I put NA.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Or we could do division and just say,
Anybody?
which way should we do it? And just say, I have none in this division, and then if someone else does, you do. Which way is cleaner to do it?
Let's just do it by list because some of mine, well, at least one of mine, two of mine could be cross division depending on which way they decide to go. So,
Okay, Omar, why don't you
Go ahead, you can
lead us
start it off.
all right. So the first one I have is Jailton Almeida I don't know if he's going to stay at heavyweight. I don't know if he's going to light heavyweight. I honestly don't fucking think it matters. That dude is probably going to murder a ton of people in 2023. I don't know where he'll be sitting by the end of 2023, but it'll definitely be higher than where he's sitting right now. So I think we definitely need to keep our eyes open out for Almeida because he's about to make a big splash, I think. Yasmin Haragui, I think, is the next one on my list. I mean, if you guys have been listening to the show for a little while this year, I think you already know there's Adrian Yanez and then there's Yasmin Haragui, and I am equally as high on both of these fucking people more than anybody else, I think, in the UFC right now, especially as far as up-and-comers are concerned. I think Yasmin is going to be – I think Yasmin is not that far away from getting not only recognition as far as her name across the board is concerned, but I also think she ends up being ranked by the end of the year. And I think she'll probably make a big splash definitely this year, but even more so in 2024. Next on my list, one of Mark's boys, Tatsuro Taira. I think that man is a fantastic up-and-comer. The way he fights is absolutely fantastic. And I think with the opportunities he has shown, with the taking advantage of the opportunities he had this past year, I think the opportunities he gets now in 2023 are going to make a big splash for him and make him a little bit more mainstream and well-known in the MMA world. Terrence McKinney on that same train. I think he'll finally get the breakout performance, or name, I should say, because the performances have been top-notch as far as I'm concerned. But people still don't really know who this kid is, and I think he needs to take the recognition from somebody that people already know before people know him. So I think that'll be his year. He just needs the right fight in order to do it. Jack Della Maddalena, another one who still is not getting the respect I think that he has earned. But people might just need him to fight somebody with a well-known name so that they realize exactly how good this man is. Shavkat Rakhmonov is another one on my list. I think he's another one who needs the opportunities given to him. I don't think he fought a lot last year. What did he fight once last year? Maybe twice?
I think twice.
Yeah. But I think he just needs the continuous visibility in order for people to really understand how much of a problem he's going to be at welterweight. Erin Blanchfield, I think, finally makes herself well known this year. I think she got a little bit of the taste last year, at the end of last year, with her performance, but I think this year she really will cement her place in that division. And last but not least, Raul Rosas Jr. I think he continues to ride the momentum that he's garnered. I don't necessarily think he'll fight anybody worthwhile, but I think people are already watching him, and I think the more his performances the more he has great performances, I think the more eyes will continue to be on him. So I think he'll end up being a big name in 2023.
Okay, Mark.
Omar, did you hack my computer, bud?
What'd I do? Oh, it's the same? It's the same?
It's more than 50% of my list just got rattled off. All right. So, yeah, I kind of have like a secondary breakout and then like some people who I really feel like I wanted to highlight. So I'll go through the others quickly. I agree. Tatsuro Taira coming up at flyweight. Absolutely think he's a name to watch. Little bit raw, a lot of talent there. I think the more we see him fight, the better we are going to see him get. At welterweight, Ian Gary, a guy who we don't 100% know, I would say, how good this man is yet. We're going to find out this year. If it goes well, I could see him mattering significantly. Also at welterweight, much more unknown name, Renat Fakhretdinov, has been super impressive so far, just absolutely ragdolling the couple guys that he has stood across from. So I could see him kind of flying up these ranks in not too long. Light heavyweight, my man Tyson Pedro, if we could ever match him up with some people who matter instead of just giving him softball after softball. I could see him getting some big knockouts and getting himself into the mix. Back to flyweight, Mohamed Makayev, the guy who's obviously looked really good so far, skilled everywhere, kind of running through people. This will be the year where now he will be fighting some names. He's kind of just hit that point, so we'll see how he does. And now we're getting into a lot of the names Omar said. Erin Blanchfield, totally agree. I think her next fight already will probably be her first against. I mean, McCann was a name, but not like a ranked name.
Right.
So the next one I think will be a big one. I could see Blanchfield mattering and almost getting fast-tracked if she continues to look this good. Flyweight again. See, we mentioned this earlier in the show. A lot of good young flyweights. Amir Albazi, another guy at flyweight who can do it all. The guy finishes fights. He'll tap you. He'll knock you out. He'll win a decision. Can do it all. Name to watch. And then my last of the quicker ones, bantamweight, guy who's fighting this weekend. They put him against a debuting fighter. I'm not really sure why that is the choice. But Javid Basharat, another guy I've been really high on since he debuted. Another guy who's good everywhere. He's the guy I pointed out on here once, had the exact same line to win by decision, knockout, and submission. And I was like, I've never seen that in my life. So love him. Then my bigger ones, Manel Kopp. I could see Manel Kopp working his way to a title shot this year. I've been a Manel Kopp guy. I think if he gets the right matchups, he could really break through. A name I'm surprised Omar didn't say, or maybe he said it and I missed it, Adrian Yanez.
Oh, maybe it's because to me he already broke out, but that might be a bias.
I feel like if he,
it might be my bias. It might be my bias.
I feel like the breakout is now if he can beat Rob Font. So I will say him. Next one, Tatiana Suarez. I know she has kind of already been there. She's already got wins over people like a Carla Esparza. She's been out for a minute. I could see her wearing the belt a year from now. That's how good I think she is. Granted, we will have to see how she looks after this whole layoff and these injuries, and she was sick, and a lot goes into it. So we'll have to see how she looks. But her breaking out or re-breaking out would not surprise me at all. Jack Della Maddalena, as Omar said, incredibly good fighter thus far. Every fight he's in, it looks like it is not hard, and like he doesn't even have to try that hard. He's a unique fighter to watch, man, and I think it's a really interesting matchup with Randy Brown. I'm not saying he can't lose it. I could also see him walk through Randy Brown, and if he does, his star is going to explode. Shavkat Rakhmonov, again, as Omar said, I'm saying the same thing about a lot of these guys, but it's why they're on my breakout list, which is that he has made it look easy and he can do everything. Yep. He really has not been troubled as of yet, not even by Neil Magny. And when Neil Magny isn't troubling you, it's a pretty good sign that you have a lot of talent in there. So we'll see how he looks against Jeff Neal. If he looks as impressive there, this dude will be fast-tracked as well. And then Jailton Almeida, as Omar led with, is my top. Well, actually, I got one other guy I forgot. But my top realistic guy is Jailton Almeida. Could be at either weight class. Again, as Omar said, he's kind of been jumping. I don't know where he's going to choose to stay. I don't know for now, since it's not like he's at the top of the top just yet. I don't know if he might still take fights at both. But by the end of this year, I think he's absolutely mattering in one division or another. And then my kind of hopeful guy, who I'll just keep at the top of my list and still say he's going to be the champ because I've been saying it, is Tom Aspinall. I don't know how long dude's out. I don't know how this recovery's going. I don't know if we get one fight this year, if we get what. But fuck it. Tom Aspinall just stays at the top of my list at all times.
I feel like Aspinall is one of those.
By breakout, I mean to be the champion.
Yeah,
obviously he has already.
I was just gonna, my list similar to you guys, and again, like we're on the same page, probably over 50% of the time here, as you'll see. I feel like I might as well not even go, but I might as well put in my 2 cents. And some of my picks, the word star is obviously subjective. So in some picks here, I'm saying that I think they're going to like really break into the upper echelon of their division in terms of ranking. In other senses, I think they're going to have a huge burst in popularity. Some are like obvious picks, and some are, I think, kind of a little bit more of with a little bit of a question mark. So let me just work up the weight divisions here, and I don't have somebody for every weight division. Women's strawweight, totally agree. Yasmin Hadagui, she has looked so impressive. Watch out for her. Women's flyweight, we are unanimous. Erin Blanchfield. I think this year she clearly is very talented, and she's projecting a lot of confidence. And I think in her next 1 or 2 fights this year, we're going to see her, as long as she keeps winning and looking impressive, I think they're going to jump her up promotionally, and she's going to get some big fights towards the end of this year. Flyweight, you're totally right about Albazi. My pick was Makayev, though, undefeated, 9-0, undefeated in the UFC. He's exciting. He has a bigger personality than Albazi to me. Yep. And look out for Makayev to really break out and become a star this year. Lightweight, I thought the layup pick was Sarukian. I think he's like the future of like 155 pounds. He's so good, so talented, so young. He's one of those guys to me who like he's already kind of a burgeoning star, but I think look for him to continue to grow in his stardom bigger and bigger this year. I feel the same way going up to welterweight about Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's kind of already, I mean, he just fought Neil Magny. Like he's kind of already a star, but I think he's going to keep rolling, and I think he's going to become a huge star, especially being at the top of welterweight coming up. Side picks for welterweight, agree on Jack Della Maddalena. I'm also curious to see if Jake Matthews can find that magic he captured in his fight against Andre Fialho. Even though he's coming off of a loss, the fight right before that against Fialho, he looked like a world beater at 170 pounds. And also look out for Ian Gary. He looks like a guy who's like a star waiting to like burst in terms of personality, and he's got the Ireland thing. He's kind of like the Irish Wonder Boy to me. He's like a super friendly guy, super good-looking guy. Watch out for him. Let's see if he keeps winning. For middleweight, I had a hard time with middleweight, so I made a fun pick. I say watch out for Anthony Fluffy Hernandez.
Dude, love it.
Let's see where this guy goes. I mean, he looked so amazing in his last outing.
Yeah,
it's like, where did this guy get
last
so good?
His last few, man, he's looked good recently.
Yeah. But also middleweight has, a crop of young guys who are all coming up. Delice, Imavov, Andre Muniz, a lot of good talent there. So a lot of parity coming up at middleweight. Light heavy, I went with Carlos Ulberg. I mean, his hype train.
I like that too, man.
His hype train took a brief pause when a fight that he was mostly winning against Kennedy Nzechukwu. He got like a flash knockout towards the end of the fight, but he was winning that fight handily, and he's looked great since. He's now 7-1. Same deal. I think if he keeps winning and keeps knocking guys out, he's a great looking guy. Incredible. He looks like an action figure. I can see them fast tracking him, and we'll go up to heavyweight now. We are unanimous as well. My last pick, Jailton Almeida. He just trucks dudes, whether he's at heavyweight or 205. Watch out for him to keep winning, to keep just like beasting people and looking amazing. And I think they're probably going to give him a big push promotionally and bigger matchups this year. Wow. We are so close in our lists.
Love it. Yeah, man, we had a lot of the same guys. A lot.
Yeah, man. Oh, and of course, Omar's boy. I skipped this one. Adrian Yanez. Watch out. I mean, he's fighting fucking Rob Font. He's about to break out as a star. I think even if he loses Rob Font, they're going to keep. He's a star, man. He's a fucking star.
We had a lot on every list. I mean, we'll say Yanez was on Omar's because he would have put him if like whatever. Yes. So Yanez, Almeida. Did we all say Rakhmonov?
Yeah, I said Rakhmonov.
I did say Rakhmonov.
Did we all? Yep. Jack Della Maddalena. We all said. Blanchfield. We all said.
Almeida.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the only 5 unanimous. But yeah,
Makayev. We also
I don't think Omar said Makayev.
Oh no,
I didn't. No, did you say Haregui, Mark? Because I know Mike did.
No, I didn't say Haregui, which is it's a good one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So wait, who was our 5 unanimous? Because those are the 5 we got to remember all year long.
Blanchfield, Yanez, Shavkat,
Maddalena,
Almeida.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Champion time.
Championship time. Let's once again go up the divisions. I think it's going to get a little more hairy at the heavier weight classes.
I have a couple I'm deciding on live.
I know.
Let's start with between two names.
Let's go by division one by one. I'll start women's strawweight by the end of the year. I say still Zhang. Mark?
Oh, that's it. No color behind it.
I mean, she's amazing. I don't see anybody beating her.
I will agree. I think the Lemos matchup is interesting. I will pick Whaley to win it.
Yes.
If she does run into Rose again, I think we may have hit a point where she is ready to deal with what Rose brings. I think she arguably even won the second fight. So that's where I'm going to go. I will say Wei Li is still champ at year's end.
Omar?
I am going to go with Amanda Lemos. I think Amanda Lemos presents some slightly different problems.
Wow.
Jessica Andrade, as good as she is, has a very specific type of game that I don't think Amanda Lemos does. Very possible that now that Wei Li has incorporated her ground game a little bit more into her overall strategy, things might change for Amanda Lemos. But I think if they strike, Amanda Lemos' power becomes a real equalizer in that fight.
Okay. Women's flyweight. Omar, let's stay with you here. Give it to us.
I wrote Valentina, stop it. What's wrong with you?
Mike, are you writing these down?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Omar says Valentina.
These are the important.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't need to explain the Valentina one. She's the greatest of all time. It is what it is. Somebody's going to have to prove that shit before I pick against her.
Exactly. Mark. Make it controversial, Mark. Do it.
He's about to.
So torn. If the year was a year and a half, I think I'd pick Tatiana Suarez. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. So my answer is Valentina.
Because
I just don't think the title fight happens, especially seeing they started Suarez with Montana De La Rosa and not with, whoever the fuck, Alexa Grasso.
Yep.
But if she beats the whole shit out of Montana De La Rosa, it's not crazy to think that they would fast track her right up, especially in that division. There's no one there.
But with how long she's been out, I'm afraid she wouldn't fight for 6 more months just to make sure she's recovered from this fight. I don't know. I want to fucking do it, but
she's 32.
I'm not going to do it.
I think she's got the best shot, just especially based off of her size, if nothing else.
If the fight happens, my answer is Tatiana.
Wow.
I just don't think it's going to.
Why not?
And it's only Tatiana. I'm not saying Tatiana will definitely beat Valentina. I just am trying to pick something a little different here.
No, yeah.
But I don't think she's going to get up the ranks that quickly. There's just Manon has to fight Valentina. It seems like Tyler Santos, a lot of people are throwing out that she deserves a rematch, even though I don't agree. I think she should have to beat someone else. Alexa Grasso's right there. It's just a lot of girls who have been fighting that Tatiana would have to work past to get a title shot before the year's over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also say Valentina by the end of the year. I agree. I think she's the greatest women's flyweight by a mile. She has she's lapping the division at this point. She's the best, man. And she is a huge argument for being the female GOAT. She's so good, man. She's just so good. And she's so good at everything. She's so strong, too. She's a strong grappler. Yep. Okay. Women's bantamweight. This could get interesting. Mark, why don't you go first this time?
I am more sure here about Valentina. Because I'm sticking by that this fight is going to happen. And if it does, I'll be riding with Valentina. So that is my answer.
Wow.
So you think the Valentina Amanda fight is going to happen this year?
Is going to
happen. I do. I really do. It was my number one cross-weight fight. I really think it's going to happen.
I did not factor that in. So I said Amanda.
Either.
I said Amanda.
So did I.
Because other than Valentina, who's beating Amanda? Come on.
I will say if Valentina and Amanda do fight again, I do reserve the right to pick Valentina for that fight. Because I will be picking Valentina.
Their first two fights were very close.
They were, but
it was real close.
The biggest issue with that fight is how those fights went. Because even though they were both close, they both were very similar in the sense that Amanda took it a little bit early, Valentina took it late, and then you had the middle rounds that were kind of a pain in the ass to figure out. And it'd be difficult to see how different those fights would end up being now, especially now that Amanda has had her ass kind of handed to her recently. Valentina still has, while she's gone through some difficult people, has still never had her ass handed to her. So
it's true.
We're at different points, I think, now in their career.
I'm pulling up the second fight on MMA Decisions. I'm very curious who more people had it for. Oh wow, 68% for. Wait, this doesn't add up.
That's not 100%.
It's not. What am I fucking missing here? Wait, I can't do math. 51, 66, 60. It still doesn't fucking add up. I don't. But 69% on Shevchenko
Oh.
in that second fight. Yeah,
There you go.
Shevchenko.
yeah. The
Should
math
we-
doesn't add up at all. This doesn't come close to 100. That makes no sense.
Should we do featherweight? Because I have LMAO for that one.
Yeah, I did not pick featherweight.
I have
I
no
mean,
idea.
I don't even know if Nunes is going to defend.
I figure I'll put one in there, try to get one right.
Might as well.
Nunes. Hopefully I get
Might
a
as
point.
well.
Should we give
Okay, let's-
Dumont another shot at the title just because she's still
Why
there?
not? Why
She hasn't even had a shot.
I like Norma.
Oh, see, she's the only one in 145. I figure she already had a shot already. That's how
No,
long
dude.
she's been there.
Nope.
That's wild.
Okay, boys, let us hop over to the men's side. And I'll go first. Men's flyweight. I wrote in all caps, Moreno, let's go. Moreno, let's go. Who would like to go and agree with me? Thanks.
Yeah, that'll be me. That'll be
Okay.
me. Brandon
End
Moreno,
of the
let's
year,
fucking
Brandon
go.
Moreno, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Look, did I make that pick with my heart instead of my brain? Yes, I did.
Fuck that. Figueiredo's about to lose that fight.
This is one of the ones that has a slash.
Okay.
I'm going to go away from you guys. He is on one side of the slash. The other side of the slash, where I'm going to go, is Alexandre Pantoja.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he can do it. I think Moreno beats Figgy.
You do? Wow.
I'm real torn on Moreno Pantoja. But fuck it. Let's try to make this thing a little fun. I'll go Pantoja.
So wait, you have like a double pick here.
No. My pick is Pantoja. For what
Okay.
you're writing down, we got to make an official pick.
Okay. I like it.
Whatever you're writing for us should just be one person.
Yes. Okay. Bantamweight. Who would like to go first?
Aljo.
You're going with Aljo. Wow. Okay.
I am going with and new Chito Vera.
I knew you would.
Wow.
Of course. Of course. You already know. I think he's there, man. I think he's there. And I honestly don't think Aljo's that in there for that much longer. I think
that's the only thing that I considered.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be around for that much longer at this point.
And the Cejudo matchup admittedly does concern me. But I think Aljo beats Cheeto, and I think he beats O'Malley. And he's already beat Sandhagen.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think Cheeto beats all of them.
I'm going.
Love it.
This might be too easy of a pick. Here's what I'm going to paint a scenario. I'm going to say if Cejudo fights Aljo, Cejudo takes the belt. But then I think Cejudo's going to like retire in like summer and like, vacate. And I'm going to say by the end of the year, the belt will once again be wrapped around Piotr Jan's waist.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Dude,
What?
he's lost 2 fights in a row here. He'd have to do some work to get back that quick.
I think he's going to do. I mean, it's only January.
Wow. The other
Mark my
guy you want
words.
to consider is Marab, but it's hard to consider him since his boy's the champ.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would be Cejudo if he stuck around, but I just, for some reason, if he fights Aljo and wins, I feel like he's going to fucking walk away again.
Or he could be like, I want to go fight Volk at featherweight. Like, who knows what he would say.
He has talked about going up in weight.
Oh,
going
yeah.
145.
A lot.
So I was
what
tempted
he
to
wanted to
write
come
down
back to
Cejudo,
originally.
but I think that the prompt is not who's going to win the belt right now. It's by the
Right.
end of this year.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Featherweight. I'll go first. Volkanovski.
Until he's dead.
I've got So my reasoning is I don't think Volkanovski is going to stay at featherweight by the end of this year.
Okay.
And as a result, I think Ila Topuria wears gold.
Wow. That'd be something.
That's where I'm at.
I'm transcribing. Okay. Lightweight. Anybody not taking Islam? Omar, let's hear it.
Get ready to suck on this one, Islam Riders. My man's Benil. Give it up to the Lord and Savior Dariush. Let's fucking go.
Oh man. Oh God. Well done.
Thank you.
Lightweight is so good. There's so many good fighters. And none of them have fought Islam, like Poirier and Gaethje and Fiziev and Dariush, and even if Armin got another crack, even if Oliveira got another crack, like there's so many ways this could go. But gun to my head, pick a name. It's Islam.
Yeah. Aside from Volkanovski, just to stay here for a second.
Oh, and Volk. I didn't even say that.
Aside from Volkanovski, in terms of other lightweight competitors, I would say the matchups I would be most curious to see Islam go against would be Dariush and Sarukian, I think. And there was one other you just said, Mark. I forget.
Gaethje, Poirier.
I think Gaethje.
Oliveira, Fiziev. He's not a losing streak now, but I've said all along, I think Chandler's a really interesting matchup for
Wow,
Islam.
why?
Just because he's so hard to hold down, and he's so fast that I could see him like fucking up Islam's rhythm. Like I could see the fight not going, not playing out where Islam wants it to, and him starting to kind of get off his rhythm a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I'd pick Islam. I think it's an interesting matchup.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hop up to welterweight. By the end of the year, who will have the belt wrapped around their waist?
This one's impossible,
Mark,
because the guy I wanted to say may just go to middleweight, which is Khamzat Chimaev. So I didn't really know what to do, but I was so torn between Usman and Leon and Colby and Bilal, depending who got matched up with who and who might win and who might shake out, that I just fucking said Chimaev anyway.
Oh,
wow. I said Bilal Muhammad.
Wow.
I do think a series of events will lead Bilal to finally. So I think Usman potentially loses that rematch with Leon.
Wow.
And then as a result, you're going to get Leon Bilal 2, and I think Leon loses that fight.
Yeah, it's possible that Leon, like, in that 5th round, got all of his mojo back. And in the rematch, he has way more confidence because he knows what he can do against Usman.
In 2 through 4, he fought the worst fight he could possibly fight.
Yeah.
Literally the worst. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
He was broken. He was a broken man.
Yeah.
So is it possible that he can go into the rematch with a lot more confidence, knowing that of what he's capable of against Kamaru? Yes, but I think Kamaru is going to go right back to the game plan and not make that critical mistake. And I also go ahead.
I think that the wrestling also, now that he's felt the 2022 Kamaru Usman, the wrestling, I just can't see him not investing all available time into continuously trying to work that takedown defense. No one's saying to try and become a better wrestler than Usman, because that's not realistic. But if he's able to stop a lot of these shots and a lot of the control, I think he allows himself to get a lot more shots off than he did in the first fight.
Man, May I ask you, and Mike, I realize we sort of cut you off here.
That's okay.
So apologies. If you think that, Omar, and you think that that leads you to say Leon can beat Usman, what then leads you to say he would lose to Bilal? Because they're very similar in my eyes.
They are. I just think Bilal has looked a little bit more aggressive. Usman, to me, has never really seemed like the forward kind of fighter. He doesn't necessarily take a lot of steps back, but he doesn't present a lot of pressure. Like, even Colby has more pressure, forward pressure than Usman does.
He does.
Bilal, though, at least in these recent fights from Bilal, his forward pressure, his ability to switch up his ground game and his like Khabib style striking and shit, whatever the hell is going on there, has just been a significantly fantastic change for his game. And I think it makes him a real danger in that division.
That's fair.
So I went with Kamaru by the end of the year. I think he gets the belt back. And whether it's Bilal, who he goes up against next, I think is going to be sort of like a you almost have forgot kind of thing of the greatness of Kamaru Usman. All right, let's jump up to middleweight. Also, I think Khamzat's too much of a wild card for me to confidently say that by the end of the year he will have the belt. Maybe he does. Maybe
I agree.
Maybe he gets it in the summer and then goes up and vacates or something like that. Props to you, Mark, for making the courageous pick of Chimaev for welterweight.
Like I said, I literally only made it. If there was another guy who stood out to me as like, that guy will definitely rise above the rest of the pack, I would have gone that way because I kind of think Chimaev's going to middleweight. Yeah. But there just isn't. They're all so like anyone could beat anyone in my eyes that I was like, Chimaev it is.
Okay. All right, middleweight. This is me. Hands up. I don't know. The I don't know emoji.
I go with Izzy until he dies.
Wow. You think Izzy gets it back? Wow.
It is what it is. I'll be wrong if I'm wrong. I go with Izzy till I die.
Mark.
So it's very hard. For me, it all depends on if I think – so I am assuming we're getting Izzy and Pereira ran back. And it all depends on who I think wins that fight. Because if Izzy wins it, I think he ends the year as the champ. If Pereira wins it, I think he fights Whitaker, and Whitaker ends the year as the champ. Wow. So that's where I'm struggling.
Omar agrees with you.
I like it. I don't mind it. I would counter that by saying, depending on the time frame, if Whitaker
won, then he might fight Izzy.
And then Izzy might be champ.
I know. I know, man. It's tough. It's tough.
Okay, Omar.
Gonna go Izzy.
Did Omar go on? I'm sorry.
I will say Izzy. I will say Izzy.
Yeah, you said Izzy. And you said you both said Izzy? Okay.
Izzy ride or die, baby.
It's tough. It's tough. I'm curious about that rematch. I think they will run it back first. I mean, there's so much precedence in the UFC, at least. Like, Adesanya has had a long enough reign that he is going to get an immediate rematch if he loses. Especially in a fight that he was winning the whole fucking time and almost finished the fucking opponent at the end of the first round. God damn it. Pisses me off.
You know why that stoppage, I was watching it the other day, and that stoppage, I think the only reason now it bothers me, having watched it a few times over, is that the ref stopped it while he wasn't getting hit. Mm-hmm. Like, had he stopped it in the middle of a barrage, I feel like I would feel less annoyed by it. But he waited for Alex Pereira to stop hitting him, and then he was like, okay, I think this is done now. And I guess...
Okay, it was all happening quite fast. I think...
I get it.
Goddard, he committed to stepping in, and then, yes, Pereira, missed one or two shots as Goddard was stepping in.
We've seen a lot of commitment from Herb Dean. When he steps the fuck in, doesn't mean he's right.
It's true. It's a hard job, man. Fucking hard job.
Listen.
You noticed Goddard was nowhere near my referee of the year last week, and we all fucking know why. Last year, he was my referee of the year.
He had some real contradictory decisions last year, man. Like, it's almost very similar scenarios in a couple different fights, and his reactions to them were almost night and day different. It was a real interesting year for Goddard. Definitely not not the best year for him, in my opinion. Hopefully this is not the start of a downfall like it has been for Harbin.
Hey, man. I'm going to reiterate the point I made when we reacted to Pereira beating Adesanya. I'll draw an analogy. There's a Shakespeare play called Henry IV Part 1. And the famous character named Hotspur, who's like this super amazing warrior. Spoiler alert, the play was written 500 years ago. Spoiler alert, Hotspur dies in the final battle against who would become King Henry V. Hotspur is called his nickname. His name is Harry Percy. He's called Hotspur because he has a bad temper, and he's also like such a fucking amazing warrior. And in a scene where earlier in the play, they're talking about, these two other characters are talking about Hotspur and like, why is he so fearsome on the battlefield? And they say this line that say, his reputation rides before him into battle.
Yep.
And that is the moment that is the reason why Alex Pereira got that stoppage, is because it wasn't just that Adesanya was stung and stunned and getting swarmed. It was that it was Alex Pereira doing that. It was the danger that he presents in any and every moment of the fight. Agreed. His reputation rides before him into battle.
I buy that. I buy that.
I think I said it that day that we talked about it, that if that was Sean Strickland doing the same thing to Izzy, the fight's not happening.
If that was Sean Strickland, Mark Goddard would have been doing like the Schleich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking to myself, that's probably why they didn't stop the Masvidal Colby fight, because they knew Colby wasn't doing shit with those pillow hands.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna say Pereira by the end of the year, but I wrote some question marks next to it because I'm like, it'll be tough. We'll see. Okay, light heavyweight. Who wants to go first? Because I don't have a fucking clue.
I mean, I'll say this: if Yuri's still injured, because I'm assuming he is, I didn't really add him to my 2023 list because I'm assuming he's not going to fight.
He has said his aim is September
of 2023.
Yes.
Then Yuri's the champion.
His first fight back, September.
Then Yuri's the champion, barring some crazy bullshit where Jailton Almeida ends up in the mix. But Yuri will be the champion. I had Ankalaev because I assumed Yuri wasn't going to be back. But if he is, then it's Yuri.
I'm in the same exact place. Does Yuri 100% come back to a title fight? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to say yes right now.
What do you mean?
September's a long way away. Like,
hold up, the man gave up his belt so that people wouldn't be fucked with. You definitely have to give him a shot.
You don't think they'll screw around at all, and that he might take one other fight?
No, I don't think so.
I would hate that for him.
All right, then my answer is Yuri.
I would be outraged.
In the light heavyweight division, it's not like the light heavyweight division is stacked.
It's true.
Yeah. The other thing is, what if he gets delayed a couple months on that timeline, and he's not ready to take a fight till like November, December, and they're like, "Oh, that pay-per-view's booked. You're fighting in January." Then we miss it.
Right.
You know. So
if that is the case, then I go with Ankalaev.
I'm in the same exact boat. It's Yuri if he makes it back. Otherwise, Ankalaev.
Yes, I'm fine with that caveat considering the circumstances.
Fair.
We are all in the same boat. I also pick Ankalaev because he's so fucking talented. God, he's so good.
Yeah.
But also, I depart from you both a little bit in that I don't know about Yuri. I mean, Yuri's amazing. I love him too. He's one of my favorite fighters right now. But to come back from a surgery like that, man, a shoulder surgery, I don't know. I wouldn't automatically pick him to win the belt right back.
There are people to me that may not have. I think there are people based on their performances, based on the interviews that they give, their personalities, and just sort of things that we see, if they do have a social media and stuff like that. For me, looking at Yuri as a person as much as I can based off of the information that I know, if there's somebody to come back from some crazy fucking injury, it's Yuri Prochazka. That man's mental fortitude seemingly is ridiculous. So I think that whatever he has to do, whatever pain, discomfort, rehab and the like that he needs to do in order to come back 100%, I think he will do. If anything, my concern would be he's going to be doing too much to come back and may potentially re-injure himself in the process. But if he does things the right way and is smart and doesn't allow things like pain and discomfort and all that other kind of shit to stop him from continuing to get better, I think Yuri is definitely the one to do it. Other fighters, maybe not, but I think he's the one.
Okay. Let's do heavyweight. Let's cap it off here.
This one's impossible.
It is. It's so far. I wrote nothing. It's a blank for me.
It's impossible. It's same. I literally.
I think it's. I think it's pretty clear. I think it's fairly clear.
Do you?
Do you really?
I do.
Who do you think?
Or
it
I
is?
do. No.
You can go first then, and then I'll go into why I am torn.
This is another one that I'm going to put a caveat on, and I think we all should put a caveat on. If John Jones actually comes back, I'm going to go with John Jones. Now, I have never held my breath for this man, so I'm not really going to add him to the list. It's just a caveat because it is a possibility. They've all been talking about it. I personally think he ain't showing the fuck up, but there we are. My actual pick is Sergey Pavlovich. By the end of this year, that man, barring John Jones' return, will be wearing gold around his belt. I don't think anybody in the top right now, skill for skill, I think, will be able to beat him. The man is enormous. His skill set is solid, and his technique is A1. And I think he's got edges over just about everybody in the top 5. So I think he ends up with the belt in the end.
Okay, I'll go with Pavlovich. Yeah.
Wow. I respect it. I considered it as well. And I say considered, I haven't decided yet. So we're going to see where I go right now as I talk this out. It's hard. So you said one reason. Hard because we don't know what Jones is doing.
Right.
Hard because I kind of want to say Ngannou. But now there's rumors that he might be a free agent. And then I saw people refuting them. But so, like, I don't know what's actually happening with that. So I don't know if he's going to be here at the end of the year or what. And then I also think it's hard because there are so many studs at the top of heavyweight. I'm saying so many guys who could be champ if they get matched up correctly, like Ngannou, Bones, Stipe, Gane, Blades, Pavlovich, Aspinall if he comes back healthy and soon enough to be in the mix. If Aspinall was healthy, I'd be picking him, by the way. I don't know. I think a lot of that depends on who gets matched up with who and what got delayed because someone had to fight John Jones or so on and so on. So I think it's really hard to predict where we'll be at year's end.
I will say that any fight involving John Jones on the docket at this point will 100% have a backup. There's no way that they won't have a backup for John Jones fights at this point. And I think Sergey Pavlovich is going to be on the short list anytime in 2023 that John Jones is on the docket.
I disagree.
This is hard.
I will disagree. I will voice this opinion. I do not think John Jones is an automatic pick at several heavyweight fights.
Yeah, I don't think he is either.
It depends on what matchup he gets. I don't think he's an automatic pick to beat Gane. I mean, these guys are just so much bigger.
I think Ngannou is probably a bigger threat than Gane is.
Huge
for John Jones personally.
I don't know if I would pick John Jones against Pavlovich. I think
John Jones runs through Gane, if we're being honest. At least based on the performance we saw against. Alone? Yeah. I don't think John has any reason to fight Gane standing up when he can take him down and literally ragdoll him seemingly on the ground, especially if he's as big as he looks.
What about Blades?
I just think he's more technical. I think he's more technical than Blades, though. I think everywhere. And I think we start to see... The thing is, the real problem I have with John Jones is if we're talking about the John Jones that did his run, the elbow John Jones, right? The John Jones that used to throw elbows like they were fucking jabs, I think he kills Blades. I think anytime that they're inside in a grappling exchange, I think John Jones is able to land shit that people aren't supposed to be able to land in a close distance. The problem is we haven't really seen that elite level of striking from him in quite some time. Like he hasn't had to because of the quality of fights that he's been having, You know, like, and not to talk shit, but like Dominic Reyes and OSP and shit they're not the tippy top of the striking pedigree, right? They may not have pushed John Jones to where he needs to go to really bring out the best of John Jones, and he skated by and won. But I think if he fights these guys that are literally going to put him in the line of murder if he doesn't play 100%, I think he's more likely to bring out that dog inside of him. And elbows, with him being 250 pounds, God help everyone.
The thing for me is if he is weighing 250 pounds in the cage, what does that do to his mobility, to his accuracy, to his agility?
But I think he ends up being
a big question mark.
He was already a fast person at 205, right?
Pretty
Him
fast, yeah.
moving up in weight while he might lose speed still had speed to spare for guys in heavyweight. Guys at heavyweight right now are very, very slow, and they're not really, the blast doubling kind of guys. Even Curtis Blades. Like, Curtis Blades has been knocked out going for a fucking takedown because he's so slow.
Yep.
John Jones, I think, is going to be on a very different level, especially just talking about athleticism, if nothing else.
If it ever happens.
Right.
I got to make a pick. I'm gonna say Tom Aspinall, and
Jesus Christ.
Here's why. I was just trying to look up his possible return. He was saying he was eyeing the March card in London, but he was afraid it was too soon. So reading that in my head, I was like, all right, maybe May. And I don't think Aspinall can be champ in 2 fights. I don't think he gets 1 win and fights for a title. So I think he would need to get 3 fights in this year. But if it is May, he could fight again in August, September, and again by the end of the year. And though I wouldn't bet on this, and I think it's probably not the most realistic thing, if Tom Aspinall is the champ by the end of the year and I didn't pick it, I'm going to fucking hate myself. And I can't decide between the other guys, so we're going Tom Aspinall.